Hi, I want to tell you some of my experiences with 3D printer Creality CR-10s after 6 or 7 months of intensive 3D printing. I will tell you some ugly or bad things about this printer, but this is not mean that this printer is bad or wrong. I like this printer. I think this is absolutely nice printer for this price, and I hope it will serve me as my second 3D printer or 3D printer for big parts for many next months and maybe years. So again, I will tell you some bad things about this printer, but this is because this is video about the problems. Yes, but again, I was printing on this printer many and many prints, kilograms and kilograms and kilograms of filaments, hundreds and hundreds of 3D print almost without any problems. I like this printer, but I have some problems with this printer, and this is video about these problems. Some problems are expected, some problems are not expected. I have some points here on paper. Maybe I forgot on some things, but I think all important is here. All important about my printer, because it is possible that with your CR-10s you will have some different experiences, bad or nice, I don't know. This is only about my experiences with my 3D printer. So, for example, point 1, position of Z-stop switch was too low, so I must glue here small piece of plywood for better position of Z-stop. Next, this printer is terribly noisy. I don't know other printer with so big noise. If I compare it with my Felix 3D printer or Prusa 3D printer or Rebel 3D printer, this is number one about noisy. And actually now is this 3D printer quiet. When I will switch on heating of hot bed and hot end, after a few minutes, 10 or 20, will start some fun inside a box, so intensive noise that this is almost unbelievable how noisy this printer is. Next, sensor of filament. Sensor of filament is useless. So many interrupted prints because sensor of filament says, or printer says, your filament is off, please put new filament or something like that, I don't know exactly. But filament was just inside the sensor. Next, if you will take a look here in detail, you can see that this hole for filament is much bigger than was. On other side too. It is because this plastic is so soft, and hundreds and hundreds, maybe kilometers of filament I was going through these holes, it will just make these holes bigger. And of course it was probably next reason for wrong filament detection. So I solved this problem with sensor filament like many others owner of this printer. I will just put small piece of filament inside this sensor and I will just have it somewhere beside the printer. And I don't use it because I can't switch off sensor filament inside the firmware. So sensor filament, I think, my opinion, is useless. Original glass was bended. My glass was bended. Many other users have had same problems. Sorry for my English. But no problem for me. I just use mirrors from IKEA without any problems. What is much bigger problem is absolutely wrong temperature detection or measurement of temperature by thermistor in hot end. All temperatures on my printer is about 30 or 40 degrees of Celsius minus. Yes. It means if I want to print PLA on 200 degrees of Celsius, I must set in slicer 240 or 230. Yes, just 30 or 40 degrees of Celsius minus. I think sensor says 240, but real temperature is about 200. It means I can't print ABS on this printer, because for ABS I need, for example, 240, yes, or some PLA 250, and I can't set on slicer for this printer 280 or 290 degrees of Celsius, because it is a limit in firmware for, I don't know, I think 260 degrees of Celsius. So I can print on my printer only PLA, and this is not a problem for me, but it is absolutely, definitively, this is wrong, this is mistake. Probably bad temperature sensor in hot end, and I will, with big replacement of extruder here, I will tell you later, I will change sensor of temperature thermistor, and I hope it will be solve this problem. Next, some problems in firmware. For example, if I will move ZX in the move axis function, if I will change value too quick, it will restart whole printer. Yes, it will freeze and it will restart. Next, if I will change content on SD card, and if I will forgot for function change SD card in menu, it will just freeze, or it will take a long time, then I will can access SD card for select a new file. Next, if I will break calibration, auto calibration, it is actually a nice function, but if I will break calibration after, for example, 2 steps, and I will, without a restart the printer, if I will run auto calibration, I don't know, after 2 or 3 days, it will not start from beginning, but from last position, and it could have some problems with position of extruder. It means, okay, next step is step 3, so this is this position. It means now my head is on position 2 and I will go right, but if is head after last print on right position, it will just go on right without any problems about real position of extruder, and it will jump on motor, etc, etc. Nothing tragical, but you must just every time finished all 5 steps of auto calibration. But nothing tragical. What is much bigger problem is that right side is about 1 millimeter lower here than on left side. It means I must switch on motors. I must measure with go exact distance from the bottom side, and I must, with turning a motor on right side, I must pull off right side on same value like here. I don't know where is this imperfection. Somewhere in construction is something not symmetrically, and this is just on right side about 1 millimeter minus distance than on left side. This is really big problem because you must, or I must, correct this problem before each print, because when motors are released without power, right side will go down again minus 1 millimeter. About power of heat bed, heating power, temperatures for PLA 40 to 60 degrees of Celsius without any problems. Temperature for ABS or other materials 80, okay, but 90, 92, 95 maybe maximum temperature which you can use here, and for 90 plus degrees of Celsius you must just wait so long time. Holder of filament spool is not perfect, but you can on Firmwares or other sites find money alternative holder of spoon for here or on table or here on top side. And some things about wheels for hotbed calibration, but again you can print your own bigger. This is not important. So some problems are important for me. Temperatures, right side down, sensor filament, yes, this is actually important problems. Some problems are not important. Small problems about firmware with SD card, etc. This is nothing horrible. You just must count with that and think on that. But what is big problem for me on this printer is everything about extruder and retractions. Especially extruder here, feeding mechanism, you cannot set force of spring. Is this almost impossible print rubber with this mechanism? Yes. this way is too long and retractions on this printer is between 5 or 6 millimeters, and okay, if it will works, it will print nice, and you can see my some previous videos that this printer can't print really nicely. But still, if you have too much retractions, print time is so long, because again, retraction here, one retraction is between 5 to 6 millimeters. On short, this is from Prusa Mark III 3D printer, on a short or direct feed extruder, I have retraction, for example on my Felix printer, 0.6 or 0.8. So if you have print with so many retractions, your print time will be so longer on Bovden feed than on direct feed extruder. How longer? I will show you now small example. So for example, this Eiffel Tower 33 centimeters high. How long will be print on direct feed or short feed extruder with retraction 0.8 millimeter. 0.8. This is normal value which I will use for Felix printer, Prusa Mark III printer, and next just printers with Rebel, etc. with direct extruder. 0.8 retraction. Complete print time, complete print time for this large Eiffel Tower will be of course long. It will be, wait for it, it will be on direct extruder about 14 hours, about 14 hours of 3D print. And now I will change retraction value for value which I use for CR-10, about 5, between 5 and 6.5 millimeters value of retraction distance. Everything other settings is same. So on direct feed print time was 14 hours, and with this large or long retractions is print time not 14 but more than 21 hours, only with different retraction settings. And that's it. With long retraction with Bowden feed, print times are longer, between 30 to 60% of time plus. When I was printing, for example, wing for RC airplane on CR-10, I was printing left side of wing on left part of wing. On Felix with direct feed I was printing right, same but right part of a wing. On Felix I was printing next part and I was in half of next part, and on CR-10 was still printing first part. Bovden feeding is just nothing for me. I have not time for this. But this is not only about the time. After a few months of print, prints was more and more with more and more mistakes and imperfections, and everything is about not perfect retractions. I change PTFE tube, I change heat break inside, but this is still not perfect like this printer was new. So combination of that for me is a reason for completely new extruder with direct feed, inspired by Prusa, a Prusa Mark III printer, and I hope it will be much better and quicker. I will probably flash 3D printer, but it will be nice not only about new type of extrusion, but I hope some next new advanced functions in a new firmware will be available. So I think that's all for now. Again, sorry for my English, and see you later.